Hello, it's Mariana again. Um, Today I would like to talk a little bit about self-love. It's something that I have been really thinking about since I was a kid, and since I had my heart chakra awakening in 2018, a lot of my questions were basically answered in a very simple way. So I think that now I am sure that we don't really learn about self-love since we are kids. And why I'm saying this? Because, when we are kids, we don't really learn self-love because we learn to focus more on other people. And we usually get the message that self-love is selfish and egotistical. So if someone asks that, who is it that you love? We're usually talking about other people. We have some certain people in our minds. We don't usually have ourselves. Because if we said, okay, I love myself, that might seem like arrogant or selfish. So we get passed on the message that self-love is selfish, which is not, of course, okay, because selfishness is just when you only care about yourself and you don't care about other people, which is not self-love. But what I have really understood, and especially when I had my heart chakra awakening, is that both self-love and love for other people, because it's not very different. Other people are mirrors. Does not come from the brain. Well, we're like usually writing down lists of somebody, for example, says, okay, find the good stuff about yourself. Come on, it's not possible that you cannot love yourself. You will always find something good, right? And that is totally wrong. Because, okay, let's say that you wrote down lists about the good points that you have. What does that mean? That automatically means that when you think about your bad points, you don't love yourself that much, right? So that is something that I first realized when a friend of mine years ago in a relationship that I was told me to write down the person's good points as a reason to understand why I love this person. And when she told me that, I immediately felt, although I knew how she meant it mentally, I immediately felt though that something was wrong with this advice. And back then, I couldn't exactly fathom what was wrong. Not yet, until I had my heart chakra awakening. Another thing that I also had in mind was that when we usually advise a person to learn to love themselves, we give some beautiful advice like do things for yourself, right? Like start exercising, start eating healthily, do things for yourself, pamper yourself, give them a good bath, or do what you really love as a hobby, or start a career that is based on what you really love and your strengths and your talents. What else? Or getting out of toxic relationships, find the good relationship. This is usually the advice that we give to a person when we want them to love themselves, right? But what happens again is even though when we do these things, yes, we do feel better, we do feel much better, and we grow in our self-esteem, and in our confidence as well, right? Which is a good thing. I'm not saying that it isn't. Of course, always do these things. But then again, when we're talking about self-love, the moment that we don't do these things perfectly, we find sometimes reasons to feel like we fail and we don't love ourselves that much in the end. So what I'm trying to say is that when we want to love ourselves, we decide to find reasons to love ourselves, that's a race. And we will never be able to reach a point where we will really, really love ourselves in the end. Because if we think like this, we will always find reasons not to love ourselves, because you see, we're not perfect. So that's why psychologists usually say to learn to accept ourselves, which is a great thing. When I did psychotherapy and I learned to accept myself more, yes, I did. Still though, there's another thing that I learned with spiritual awakening and heart chakra awakening. And this is that by the time that we use our brain, which is our ego, to decide to love ourselves, we have failed. Because, you see, guys, what I learned from heart chakra awakening is that we cannot love ourselves. Why is that? Because it's not like it's us and we go out of ourselves, watching back at us, and decided whether we're good enough to be lovable. We cannot get out of ourselves to watch us directly and love us. We cannot do that. We love ourselves. Who we are really is not our ego, it's not our brain. When we do understand this, we do understand that since our soul is indestructible, and it's always an energy, this is who we really are. And that is always, always love. So it's not like something that is, sometimes it is love and sometimes it isn't. No, our soul is always love. So since this is who we really are, we are always love. This is not something that we decide to be. I mean, it's a paradox, think about it. We want to use our brain to decide to look back at us as if we can get out of our body and decide whether we can love ourselves or not. And if we have good points, we can love ourselves, but not that much because we also have bad points. That's ridiculous. Think about it. When I had my heart chakra awakening, I felt so much unconditional love. And I realized that this is who I really am. Mind you, not this is what I really do. This is who I really am. Me and everybody else. So it's not self-love. It's also a paradox. Self-love. Real self is love by itself. You don't need the extra word. That's what I mean. You cannot love yourself because you are love. It's not a verb. It's a being. It's something that we all are. So by trying to find reasons to love ourselves, we always fail. Something's wrong there. You see? It's something that we really are. We are love. We don't do love. We don't love something, someone. We are it. That's what I learned when I had my heart chakra awakening. Because you see, when I had the spiritual awakening, when you realize how much of your soul you are, it's your heart chakra that awakens, not your brain. Your brain is a part of your ego. It's a part of the personality that you have decided to have on this earth, on this lifetime, and every lifetime. And with every personality that you have, you also have a brain. And you need the brain. But this is not the real you. What's the real you? Sorry. It's love by itself. So you don't need to learn to love yourself. You just need to awaken your heart and realize who you really are. Because when you do that, you just love. You are love. And you're just spontaneous. You just give that everywhere. But it is something you are. You don't love yourself. You don't love your soul. You are it. Every single time. We start doubting that because we start using this. And when you start using this, you try to find ways why you're worthy, why you're lovable. There's no why. You are. Full stop. And maybe sometimes you don't feel it, but this is not something you feel, this is something you know. So don't doubt something that you really are, because you are love. And if you try to use your brain to justify the fact that, yes, I am lovable and people should love me, well, no. You are it. You and everybody else. We are it. We are love. And what happens is usually that we come and we have starting having some bad experiences. And when we have some bad experiences, then the opposite of love comes to the surface, which is fear. And by having fear, fear belongs here, to the brain. We put a wall between us, who we really are, and society. And when this happens, it's not that we are not love anymore. We are. We are always love. We just put a wall. We don't want to show it. That's it. But it is not like we are not love. And there's no such thing as trying to love ourselves. We are it, guys. It's like when you have a light, you don't just... Self-love is not like we switch on the light when we are fine, and then we switch it off. No, it's always on. It's always on. No, that's what I want to say today. Okay. Bye, guys. I'll see you.